This week's bottom line is gold versus Bitcoin. FundStrat's Tom Lee, who talked to Henry Blodgett 2 weeks ago and said that everybody has room for alternative currencies in their portfolio, came out with a note over the past week saying that Bitcoin could be a true substitute for gold. In his note, he builds a foundation for a valuation of Bitcoin that he estimates could go to $20,000 a unit by 2022, which would increase the price of Bitcoin eightfold in the next 5 years. His valuation is based on the assumption that Bitcoin, which currently is about $53 billion in total, to gold $7.5 trillion. So Bitcoin makes up about 0.7% of all of the value if you look at what he would call alternative currencies, including gold. He says that that could go up to 5%. And his entire valuation really hinges on that change. So if we unpack that a little bit and we look at the similarities between gold and Bitcoin, the similarity in supply is certainly there. Most of the gold that's ever been mined is still in existence today, and the supply of gold has been growing at about 1.5% a year. Bitcoin has a ceiling built in for the number of Bitcoins, and as you mine Bitcoins, they become harder and harder to mine. So the supply of Bitcoins dropped from 9% last year to 4% this year, and Lee estimates that the growth rate of the supply of Bitcoin will fall below where gold's 1.5% by 2020. So on the supply side, Bitcoin and gold do look a lot alike. On the demand side is really the question. And Bitcoin does provide a store of value like gold, and unlike other currencies, it's not subject to central banks increasing the supply and changing the value that way. But the rest of the demand does bring up an issue. Tom Lee points to central banks, which own 18% of gold. However, whether or not they'll actually start buying Bitcoin is a real question. And Henry Blodgett has pointed out on this show before that Bitcoin doesn't really have intrinsic value, which we all know that gold does. You can take it, you can have it delivered and do stuff with it. So if you think that Bitcoin can and will cannibalize some of the money that's going into gold, then it makes sense to say that there could be huge gains in store. But that's a big if, and that's the bottom line.